Your life. Sorry, you're muted.
Is this better now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Manal Haish from Access, and today we're going to be talking about vaping and electronic cigarettes. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about vaping. What is vaping? Also, we're going to see the anatomy of an e-cigarette or electronic cigarette and what's in a vape device. So the vape device is same as the e-cigarette, which stands for electronic cigarette. And how do vapes work? Trends with vaping and how is vaping related to mental health? And also how can vaping impact brain development? Also, why is nicotine bad for teenagers? Also, how is the tobacco industry targeting the youth? Why are youth the targets of nicotine use? So we start with what is vaping? So vaping is the act of inhaling and exhaling the vapor produced by the heated nicotine liquid. It's often called juice. So it's often called vape juice. They don't call it vape chemical because, of course, they want it to be more appealing to teenagers and youth and also to people. Like when you hear vape juice is better than you hearing vape chemical. So if you ask a teenager, would you like to use this to try this vape chemical? They will, of course, they will tell you, no, I don't use chemicals. I don't try chemicals. I don't eat or drink chemicals. But when you say, would you like to try this vape juice? So juice sounds more appealing and they will say, of course, juice sounds good. I like juices, so let's try it. So that's why they call it vape juice. So here, this is the anatomy of electronic cigarette or a vape. There's the battery right here. Okay, first there's the LED indicator light with a button, and here is the battery. Okay, and here there's the atomizing device and heater. And here is the liquid-filled cartridge inhaler. So when you press this button, it will turn on the battery. The battery will work on heating up the liquid in the electronic device, the electronic cigarette or the vape. And then it will heat up this liquid right here that's in the uh, in the in the cartridge. So what's in a vape device? Of course, we know that there's a lot of heavy metals. There's a lot of toxic chemicals in the vape. There's also nicotine. These are all chemicals that can cause, for example, popcorn lungs. It can cause serious lung diseases. So it has heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead. It has flavors, a lot of flavors such as diacetyl. It's a chemical linked to serious lung disease based on the CDC, of course. Also, it has trace metals. Um, so that's what they found in vape liquids that may play a role in the potential link between vaping and depression. Also, it has a lot of cancer-causing chemicals, as we said, the diacetyl, and so many other like zinc, chromium, manganese. So the manganese can harm the body in many ways of if taken in excess, such as causing schizophrenia, dullness, weak muscles, headaches, and Parkinson's, and also lung issues and lung diseases. So what do they put in the e-liquid, or what do they put in the vape juice? So even look at this picture here. It looks so appealing. Um, Teenagers and youth, when they see this, they want to try it, especially with the flavors and the look of it, the colors. These are very attracting to the youth and the teenagers. So it is typically a mixture of water containing food grade flavors, also a choice of nicotine levels. So usually, and it's the vapes, they have um, more than 10 times the amount of nicotine that's in than the other regular cigarettes. So it has a very high amount of nicotine, which is very highly addictive to teens. It's very highly addicting to teens. Also, it can have a cannabis, which is the THC or the CBD. It has propylene glycol or vegetable glycerine. So the propylene glycol and vegetable glycerine are humectants used in e-liquids to produce aerosols that simulate combustible tobacco cigarette smoke. So that's for them to make more smoke for them to inhale. Uh, how do vapes work? So vapes produce an aerosol by heating a liquid that usually contains nicotine flavors or flavoring and other chemicals that help to make the aerosol. Also, the liquid used often contains nicotine and flavors. The liquid, as we said, is called e-juice, e-liquid, vape juice, or vape liquid. So when users inhale the e-cigarette aerosol into their lungs, the bystanders or the people in the room or around them, they um, they they can also breathe in that aerosol when the user exhale it into the air. So, and that's called second-hand aerosol smoke. So we talked before about secondhand smoking. So secondhand smoking can be from cigarettes, like people smoking cigarettes around us, people smoking a hookah or shisha, and also the vapes. People smoking vapes or electronic cigarettes can cause um, um, secondhand aerosol smoke. Uh, so sometimes we say, like, wait, why? Why do teenagers choose to vape? It can be because of pressure to fit in with their peers. They feel like they want to fit in a specific group. These, like, for example, like cool kids that they want to be their friends. They tell them, okay, you can't be my friend unless you smoke like us. If you're a smoker, if you vape, you can fit our group. So their confidence or their self-confidence is very low or a little bit lower, so they can't make their own decisions. They say, okay, I'll start smoking. I'll try it at least. Once they try it, the first time, second time, they will get addicted again because we said because it has a very high amount of nicotine that they can become addicted from the first or second time. Also, it can be because of unstable or stressful home environment. So, um, if like there's family issues like in the home, um, a lot of fights going on, there's no communication, there's their parents don't listen to them, um, then they can choose to smoke or vape. Also, the flavor options. The flavor option is a very big issue. As we said, they look very appealing. Even they can make it like um, they may come into shapes that they can or devices that they can sneak into schools, um, like highlighters, like pens, like even smartwatches. Um, they can also um, be like smartphones. Recently, they've made um, some vapes that look like smartphones, and they have games on them. Okay, it can even have like a reminder. Okay, a reminder for them to vape. So they make them look like the shapes and the flavors very appealing. Talking about the flavors, they have more than 15,000 flavors of vapes out there. Any candy that the teenagers like, any any food, any flavor they like, they made it um, into a vape flavor. And also because it does not make you smell bad. Some of them are smokeless, so it does not make people smell bad. Also, lack of understanding on the effect of vaping. So, some teenagers or some youth, and also some adults, they think that vapes are made to help people quit smoking. Um, they don't know that it's very dangerous. It's a lot more dangerous than regular cigarettes because it has a lot of toxic chemicals. Um, Also, because it's introduced to the person through someone that they know and they are close to. It can be like by their parents. Um, it can be by their older siblings, by their best friends. Like right now, even if you ask an adult, like, how did you start smoking? Or how did you start vaping? They will tell you that because my friend, he told me like to try it. It was my friend got it for me. It's usually that's why we talk a lot about peer pressure, like how to make sure like you stand up for yourself, like just take the positive peer pressure, don't take the negative peer pressure. um, it's very important that you know who your kid is friends with. You have to make sure that you choose the right friends for your children. Um, no smokers, no vapors. That's why it's very important. Because if they're smokers, they're going to pressure them to smoke. They want to be like them, right? Also, the influence of social media. So, 36% of electronic cigarettes advertising comes from online. So, if your children or your teenagers they have a smartphone device or they have like a social media account, or even like on TV, um, the promotions that they see. Okay, there's a lot of advertisings about tobacco and about vapes. So, how is vaping related to mental health? This is very, very important. As we mentioned before about the manganese, how it can affect the mental health and trigger some, like, for example, like schizophrenia. And also, when we mentioned that um, the the THC can be included into the vape, that can trigger the mental health disorder. For example, here they're saying 4 out of 5 of youth who had used e-cigarettes started vaping to deal with stress, anxiety, or depression. So they think that this is a way for them to deal with anxiety or depression. Um, these are unhealthy ways to deal with depression because At first, it might start as, okay, they start smoking, it gave them a good feeling the first time. Once they get addicted and they get dependent on nicotine, then it's going to stop. They're going to get the withdrawal symptoms because they're addicted to it. They can't function without it. So it will cause more depression and more stress and anxiety. Also, two of the most common perceived advantages of vaping were relaxation and stress relief. Cigarettes users have double the odds of a depression diagnosis compared with those who have never vaped. So we see like um, people also with mental health disorders can like have more um, they use cigarettes and they use tobacco and vapes more than the people with no mental health disorders as well. Vaping nearly doubles the risk of ADHD symptoms, including serious difficulties concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. How can vaping impact brain development? Uh, so, since teens' brain is still in the process of development, they can be more vulnerable to the impact of certain external and internal factors. So um, we know that the brain of the human, like the human brains or the human brain, fully develops by the age of 25. So if they use any kind of tobacco product, any kind of chemical, any um, any drug before the age of 25, this will affect and change the brain chemistry. Um, so it will, because they're still in the process of development. So that's why we say like do not like we say or we ask the teens and the youth not to start any like smoking or any use of any substances before the age of 25. They would say like, oh, can we start after the age of 25 then? So usually if the person doesn't smoke before the age of 25, once they hit 25, it's harder for them to start smoking. That's why it's like we're not tricking them, but we're giving them the advice in a different way. Um, so during the adolescent development stage, our brains build synapses, which are connections, more quickly. So it to help the youth and young people to learn new skills. So the nicotine, what it does, it affects the way that their brain uh,
Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. This curriculum is designed to work with Common Core standards and global educational guidelines. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds, Chess Kid helps you organize your students and monitor their progress. Each child receives a weekly report card that shows how many lessons, puzzles, and games were completed. You can also organize kids into clubs and send them messages. Chess Kid is the online home of scholastic chess for thousands of kids, parents, schools, and coaches. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for? Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. This curriculum is designed to work with Common Core standards and global educational guidelines. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds, Chess Kid helps you organize your students and monitor their progress. Each child receives a weekly report card that shows how many lessons, puzzles, and games were completed. You can also organize kids into clubs and send them messages. Chess Kid is the online home of scholastic chess for thousands of kids, parents, schools, and coaches. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for? Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. This curriculum is designed to work with Common Core standards and global educational guidelines. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds, Chess Kid helps you organize your students and monitor their progress. Each child receives a weekly report card that shows how many lessons, puzzles, and games were completed. You can also organize kids into clubs and send them messages. Chess Kid is the online home of scholastic chess for thousands of kids, parents, schools, and coaches. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for? Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. This curriculum is designed to work with Common Core standards and global educational guidelines. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds, Chess Kid helps you organize your students and monitor their progress. Each child receives a weekly report card that shows how many lessons, puzzles, and games were completed. You can also organize kids into clubs and send them messages. Chess Kid is the online home of scholastic chess for thousands of kids, parents, schools, and coaches. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for?
Among the 35,000 museums across the United States, there is only one museum that tells our story, and only one museum that elevates the Arab American voice and inspires the generations of today and the generations to follow. A thoughtful narrator of history, a passionate advocate of justice, and an innovative expression of our identity, the Arab American National Museum has served as the heart of Arab American storytelling, making its mark in the world of art, science, and culture. Brought to life by Access in 2005, the creation of this crown jewel and Smithsonian affiliate was guided by Access's vision of a just and equitable society that includes the full story and contributions of Arab Americans. Emerging as a powerful reclamation of our narrative in a space that has been dominated by ignorance and misconceptions that have threatened our cultures, traditions, and truths, the Arab American National Museum preserves our story and shares our contributions with the world. Locally and across our nation, we offer a history created by you to sustain a future that will be built by you. Since the very beginning of time, storytelling has been a way for us to navigate and discover our world. It is what heals us, unites us, and inspires us. Whether it is stories, songs, paintings, photographs, films, textbooks, novels, or poetry, the beauty and contributions of our unique and remarkable community are captured through the history and art that live on in our treasured Arab American National Museum.
A few tips before you measure. For the best results, please make sure your child is always standing up straight and wearing their undergarments. It's best to not measure over clothing. When measuring the waist or hips, remember to hold the measuring tape snugly, but never too tight. Height. In bare feet or socks, have your child stand with their feet together and back to a wall. Measure from the top of their head down to the floor. Chest. While standing, have your child raise their arms slightly, then measure around the fullest area of the chest, usually right at the level of the armpits. Waist. With the measuring tape parallel to the floor, measure around your child's natural waistline, just above their navel. Measure waistline above the pants. Never measure waistline with pants or skirt between measuring tape and skin. The natural waistline is the narrowest part of the waist. Hip. Measure around the fullest area of the hip. This measurement should only be taken over thin underwear. Do not measure hips with pants or skirt between measuring tape and skin. Inseam. Measure from the crotch of your child's pants down to the desired pant length or ankle. A few tips before you measure. For the best results, please make sure your child is always standing up straight and wearing their undergarments. It's best to not measure over clothing. When measuring the waist or hips, remember to hold the measuring tape snugly, but never too tight. Height. In bare feet or socks, have your child stand with their feet together and back to a wall. Measure from the top of their head down to the floor. Chest. While standing, have your child raise their arms slightly, then measure around the fullest area of the chest, usually right at the level of the armpits. Waist. With the measuring tape parallel to the floor, measure around your child's natural waistline, just above their navel. Measure waistline above the pants. Never measure waistline with pants or skirt between measuring tape and skin. The natural waistline is the narrowest part of the waist. Hip. Measure around the fullest area of the hip. This measurement should only be taken over thin underwear. Do not measure hips with pants or skirt between measuring tape and skin. Inseam. Measure from the crotch of your child's pants down to the desired pant length or ankle. A few tips before you measure.
Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. This curriculum is designed to work with Common Core standards and global educational guidelines. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds, Chess Kid helps you organize your students and monitor their progress. Each child receives a weekly report card that shows how many lessons, puzzles, and games were completed. You can also organize kids into clubs and send them messages. Chess Kid is the online home of scholastic chess for thousands of kids, parents, schools, and coaches. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for? Chess
You're good.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone again. Sorry for the interruption. So we're going to continue from here. How is vaping related to mental health? So the studies, let me just put it on slideshow. Okay. So how is vaping related to mental health? The study have shown that 4 out of 5 of youth who had used electronic cigarettes started vaping to deal with stress and anxiety or depression. So unfortunately, they didn't learn the healthy ways of coping with stress. So they thought that vaping or smoking can help them quit. It can help them ease their stress or cope with their stress, which is not true. That's an unhealthy um, way of dealing with stress because they can become dependent on it, of course, and then they will be addicted and dependent on nicotine. So if the feeling, the good feeling that nicotine was giving them is no longer there, then they're going to feel depressed and stressed out again. Two of the most common perceived advantages of vaping were relaxation and stress relief. So also cigarettes users have doubled the odds of depression diagnosis compared with those who have never vaped. Also, go back. Wait. Okay. Okay. Also, vaping nearly doubles the risk of ADHD symptoms, including serious difficulty concentrating or remembering or making decisions. How can vaping impact brain development? So since teens' brains or a teen's brain is still in the process of development, because the teen's brain or the human brain fully develops by the age of 25. Okay, if they smoke, if they use any substances, if they vape before the age of 25, it can change their brain and affect it can change and affect their brain's chemistry. So and of course it can impact certain because of this certain like because of any of these substances that they use. So it can affect their IQ will become lower, or can become lower. Their their body will change because also learning new skills will become harder for them because of their lower IQ or the change of chemistry of their brain. Also, during the adolescent developmental stage, our brains build synapses, which are connections, um, more quickly to help youth and people and young people to learn new skills. So, since their brain gets dependent on nicotine, um, the the nicotine does affect the way that their brain forms the synapses. It can change the way that different parts of their brain communicate with each other, which could either speed up or slow down their brain activity. Can vaping cause long-term psychological damage? So, young teens who frequently vape are at high risk to develop a collapsed lung. People who vape or who people who vape will develop a collapsed lung, or who develop a collapsed lung may develop symptoms like shortness of breath, sharp pain in the chest, and uncomfortable shoulder pain. Um, I want to mention here the popcorn lung. So youth and teens that vape can get um, popcorn lungs. So when you say popcorn lungs, it sounds okay, popcorn, like they will relate it. It's a very serious issue and disease. So basically what happens, the toxic chemicals in the vape or in the vapes, they cause scars, like very tiny scars in the lung tissues or in the lung pathways. So they're gonna irritate the lung. They're gonna get irritated and irritate the lungs and cause infection. So it's gonna be so hard for them to use their lungs. So they will need um, uh, other external devices or other devices to help them breathe. The addictive aspect of vaping. So nicotine is a colorless liquid, okay? And as we said, it's highly addictive. It's a drug, it's a stimulant. So youth and teens do not need it. Okay, it keeps them hooked on vaping because it causes the brain to make more of the happy hormone, which is called dopamine. So the nicotine, um, what it does, so is that the nicotine is the fastest drug or the fastest chemical that can reach the blood. So it only takes 7 seconds for it to reach the blood. For example, like if I have a headache, and I want to take like medication, like Tylenol, for example, it will take minutes for it to work and for my pain to go away. For the nicotine, it's so fast. That's why it takes only 7 seconds for it to reach the blood. That's why it's highly addicting. So, um, um, a lot of people, like all over the world, are addicted to nicotine more than any other chemical because how highly addictive it is. Um, so how it works, when used very frequently, the ability of your body to function becomes dependent on it. So the nicotine tricks the brain into making dopamine. The dopamine is the happy hormone. Okay. After they smoke the first cigarette or the first vape, they will feel like, okay, they got satisfied. Of course, their brain releases the happy hormone that's called dopamine. So they say, oh, I want that feeling again. Let me try it again. So they will go back and like try to smoke. They smoke the cigarette again, or they smoke the vape again. It will give them that feeling. So they will say, oh, I want more of that happy hormone. They try it over and over, and then they get addicted to it. Um, and then it's harder for them to quit. After addiction, it's so hard for them to quit. When they attempt to quit, it becomes difficult due to the withdrawal symptoms, um, such as insomnia, cravings, anger and frustration, and also headaches. So here, this will show you how the cycle of the nicotine dependence. So first of all, they smoke a cigarette or electronic cigarette, or which is the vape. Their cravings get satisfied, and then after a short time, um, the nicotine wears off. Okay, they will get the withdrawal symptoms. They become angry, frustrated, headache. So they go back to smoke a cigarette or a vape, and then the craving gets satisfied, and then the nicotine. So this is how it is. Okay, this is how it is, and this is how addiction happens. Why is nicotine so bad for teenagers? Um, so, with nicotine rapidly being absorbed by the blood, there's another hormone um, called acetylcholine. It gets negatively affected and can't do its job properly. Okay. Why is this hormone very important? Because it helps teenagers concentrate. It helps them with their memory capabilities, and also their ability to learn. So, do you think that teenagers can do well in school if they are vaping on a day-to-day basis? Of course not, because they're very addicted to the nicotine, and they will feel like they have no energy, they can't focus, they can't concentrate without taking the vapes. And of course, as we know, the vapes are not allowed in schools. Smoking is not allowed in schools, so it's going to be very hard for them. So, how is the tobacco industry targeting the youth? Okay. So basically, the smell of cigarettes isn't pleasant. Okay. So neither the taste of it, neither the flavor. Okay. So because it doesn't taste good or smell good, they want something that's going to help them. The tobacco companies or the tobacco industries, they want something to help bring the youth and bring more teenagers to smoke. So what did they do? They came up with flavors. They thought about so many flavors that the kids like, that the teenagers like, the youth like. So what do they like? Oh, they like Skittles. We'll make a flavor, for example. We'll make a flavor like that. Okay. They like fruits, strawberries, um, bananas, blueberries, raspberries, whatever. they made that flavor. So it's a flavor is a chemical that's made in the lab. Okay, it's not a real strawberry in that vape. It's not a real blueberry in that vape. Okay, it's a chemical that tastes like these candies or fruits. Okay, they like cotton candy. We'll make them cotton candy flavor. We'll make them watermelon flavor. We'll make all these chemicals that can bring them to purchase these vapes that can attract them to purchase the vapes and purchase the cigarettes. These also, because this can cause a lot of pressure on them. So after they buy them, they're gonna get, for example, like addicted to that flavor. They like that flavor. They're gonna get addicted to that flavor. So they're gonna go ahead and purchase it again, and of course, become addicted to the vape. Also, misleading health information. So they make it seem as if their products are not as bad as others. Okay. They can move or remove some bad concerns that's on the other, like cigarettes packets. Uh, by the way, the company, the tobacco company that makes the cigarette, each tobacco company that has a cigarette brand has its own vape brand. Okay, so they can tell you, oh, this is like not a good tobacco for youth. Use this one instead. They'll put them a vape instead. Also, they create commercials and ads to make it seem that vaping is the new cool thing and it's what other popular kids do. So they'll tell them, oh, you want to be cool like other kids? Go ahead and fit in and smoke a vape. Why are youth the target of nicotine use? So individuals who started smoking below the age of 20 reported smoking more cigarettes than those who started in their late 20s. So that's when we say when we said like if they start after the age of 25, it's there's a lower chance that they're going to start smoking. That's why. Because when they start smoking on a younger age, they can still because they will have a lot of nicotine. They're going to be like highly dependent on nicotine, so it's harder for them to quit than the people that started smoking after the age of 20. And because of course it changed their brain chemistry and they're highly addicted to it. So the greater the nicotine dependency, the greater difficulty it is for that individual to successfully quit smoking. So what are some healthy ways to increase the dopamine when you are feeling down? Like if you're, for example, if you're teens, you see them like stressed out, you see them like anxious or having any panic attacks, go ahead and teach them those coping skills, the stress and anxiety coping skills. Teach them like how to exercise. Okay, exercising is very helpful for them. For the teenagers that are frequently anxious and they experience those panic attacks. Also, exercising can help ease the ADHD symptoms. Also teach them how to meditate. Okay, teach them how to focus on their surroundings. Also to focus on their body's physical senses, such as like touch, smell, and hearing, and etc. Also to teach them how to control their breathing. Okay, teach them how to slowly breathe in and breathe out. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can put on for you and your kids to practice these and to cope, to learn how to cope with these, with stress, with anxiety, and with panic attack. So these methods can be very helpful for you and your children, especially when there's stressful situations. Do you want to help your teen quit vaping or smoking? So there's a website. It's the MDHHS have a website. It's My Life, My Quit. So this is for teens in the age of 13 to 17, between the age of 13 and 17. They can make a quit plan for free through this website. They can text. So if they text Start My Quit to this number, to 36072, or they can even call this number, the 1-855-891-9989. They can help them quit vaping and quit smoking. So they don't have to know who's texting them. They will not take any information about your child. They will just give them resources, give them helpful information, alternative strategies to deal with these situations and to deal with their vaping. Also, they can track their progress and plan how they will prepare to quit tobacco. Here are some resources about for this presentation. Okay, thank you so much and have a great weekend.
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM-certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Nor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.